Hello and welcome back to I Was Thinking with Nafees and Simone.
Hi, I'm Nafees.
And I am Simone. And today we will be talking about living in Florida. So we are talking about this topic because if you couldn't guess, we both live in Florida. Or what I like to call it, the foot of America.
The what? The foot of America?
The foot of America. I call it that because if you look at the map, I kind of see it as like a little animal. So like when you see Florida, it kind of looks like the front of little feet. That's just me.
I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I have an active imagination. So the way America is shaped, it looks like an animal to me. And I always imagine Florida as being the foot.
Oh, interesting.
Hey guys, Simone here. Just real quick popping up in this episode from the future. Thinking back of when me and Nafees recorded this episode, at least I said this on my part, I was a lot nicer talking about Florida and just living in Florida than I thought I was going to be. And then I reminded myself and saw the election. And I take it all back. Not all of it, but listen, Florida is trash. America is trash. What are we going to do? Are we surprised that Florida was red? No. Maybe just before I was born, but I don't ever remember an election where Florida wasn't red. I think mostly me and Nafees were just talking about we mostly grew up in or around the areas where are blue, which is our the major cities that we kind of talk about in this episode. So that's where most of our views come from. You gotta remember, Florida is a lot bigger than what people think it is. From Jacksonville to Miami could literally take you 8 hours just to drive the whole state. So thought I'd pop in and say that I rated it a lot higher than I initially thought I was going to. I think I was just in a good mood, to be honest. So I think my real ratings are the people, 5 out of 10, overall a 7 out of 10, and that's still being relatively nice. But anyway, I thought I should just pop up and say that. All my Black people, trans people, all my queer people, all my people of color, I'm just praying and hoping for our sanity. Take a breath, do whatever you need to do to, calm yourself because it's rough out here, no matter where you are in the world. And I just want people of color and Black people to win. Oh, and also I just wanted to reiterate, there's a reason why I call Florida the foot of America. Okay, back to the episode. So, before we get started, how are you, Nafees? How's your day going?
I'm okay. I'm doing okay. This week was actually pretty decent.
That's good.
Yeah, we had Friday off, so I'm currently in a 3-day weekend.
Nice.
So that's always good news.
Did they do that because it's technically a holiday? I didn't think schools took off for Halloween. We're recording this on Halloween, just to let you guys know.
No, so I think Friday was a professional day. I think it has something to do with some counties having Columbus Day off and some counties don't.
When I was in school, they had teacher duty day where teachers took that day to do work, but the students were off. Was it something like that or no?
Yeah, they still have that. But this, I guess, they just decided to give teachers and students the day off.
Interesting.
So it worked that way, yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. I did nothing on Friday. It was great. It felt weird, though, because I'm I have something to do. But I really didn't have anything to do.
Are you all caught up on your college work?
I am, yes.
That must be nice. I wonder what it's like to not procrastinate to where you're doing everything last minute and panicking.
Oh, who said I don't procrastinate? I do.
Oh, okay.
I've just mastered it at this point.
I'm currently still doing that, so I still have a lot of work to do.
You're in the process of mastering procrastination?
No, I'm in the process of procrastinating because I have work to do.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It's almost over. I have 1 more month, and then I'll be done.
That is so true. You actually do have 1 more month and some days.
It's stressful. I have a really bad case of senioritis right now.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Do you know what you're going to do afterwards?
Not a clue.
It's okay. You have time though to figure it out.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I mean, besides that, I've just expressed, I've been stressing. about school. A lot of K-pop groups are like coming back in October. I guess I was hearing this is the month where it's like the cutoff date before award season. So that's why it's like an abundant of music release. Yeah, so there's this rookie group that I listen to called DKB. And I guess they're kind of like quote unquote hip hop. And they just released like an EP. There is one song that is not like the title track on there. This is where I'm like, I need either someone in companies to start like checking the samples they use, like when it comes to like the English words, because or like the culture context. So like I don't know music that well, but it kind of has like a hip hop. Think like early 2000 hip hop songs where like you can have a dance to it.
Okay.
Kind of like a Cupid Shuffle in a way, but more dancey. And I had to look up the lyrics. So when they're singing, it's basically kind of like a love song, if you will, about like, oh, I want to be your number one, girl. Like, tell me what I got to do to make me your number one. But when it starts off, there's a sample. And I don't know if this is a real song. And the guy in English is saying, do it on a handstand, back it up on a handstand.
What?
Exactly. Those two don't go together. So the sample is, do it on a handstand, which means like, basically twerking on a handstand. But they're singing about love and being a girl's number one. And that just kind of throws me off the song.
Yeah, I don't think asking someone to twerk will make you their number one. Just saying.
I mean, no judgment if it does, but...
The chances, though, are highly unlikely, I think.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, oh God, the English doesn't match.
Yeah.
No one checked this. It's so funny though. I still downloaded the song, but like every time I hear it, I start laughing. So like I get love lyrics mixed in with a do it on a handstand in the background. And I'm like, what is this?
I feel like in general though, when they're like mixing samples with their actual songs, like they should at least check that it flows.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's where the language barrier comes in and they just use it because they think it sounds cool. They just need to start checking this.
Yeah, just make sure it matches, that's all. And that has it like a flow to it. Anywho, living in Florida.
After our little tangent.
Yeah. You said you were born and raised in Florida, right?
I was.
Well, I mean, I guess you still are because you are still here.
Yeah, so I am. Florida native. I don't know if that's something to be proud of.
I'm guessing you want to move out of the state?
I just want to experience living in a different place. I think there's like a couple set of people, kind of like two, but there could be more. There's those people that live in one place, grew up there, and like just because they get comfortable, they really enjoy like being where they are and they have like no desire to move anywhere.
Yeah.
And there's some people that like live here whether you love it or not, but you just want to change the scenery. And I think I just want to change the scenery, especially like living in Florida. We are like in the tropics. So like now it's getting colder, but like there's no type of season. I can't even tell the seasons are changing. My one friend texted me because she moved to Boston and she's like, it's so cold here. And I'm like, cold. And I had to be like, wait, we're in October. What is the temperature there? And she's like, it's in the 30s. I'm like, it is 75 degrees here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, I feel like out of place when it comes to stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So that's just one thing. I don't really go anywhere because I'm not like a big beach person. It's pretty. It's nice to like look at. But like I'm terrified of going in the water. I don't know what's in the water. We haven't discovered like what, 60 to 80%.
That's true. Wait, do you know how to swim?
Not really. I can doggy paddle to save my life.
Just enough to save myself, but further
just
than
enough
that,
to save myself.
Not much.
I'm not over here doing like the butterfly and some backstrokes and all that.
No. Definitely no Michael Phelps here.
But yeah, but like even in the ocean, like, with the current and the waves, it's kind of hard to swim compared to like if you're in a pool.
That's true. Actually, I find it easier to swim in an ocean than in a pool.
Really?
Yeah, I enjoy it more. That's probably why.
Horizontally or vertically? So like, do you find it easier if you're swimming like towards the ocean, like further away from land, or like if you get in a specific spot and you just swim like against the horizon?
No, I just like swimming in the ocean.
Okay.
The pool is fine too, but like there's only so much space.
Yeah.
Like, you just go from one corner to the other and then back again.
And I wouldn't say I'm terrified of water, but like I feel like I get a little claustrophobic in water. So like if the water comes up to a specific point of my chest, I feel like I'm suffocating. So that's another thing too. I get a little freaked out about that.
Oh.
And what is there to do at the beach? I don't like sitting in the sun for too long.
Have you like been with friends?
Yeah, but like I start getting bored like an hour or two in, but I usually, if I'm with them, I don't say anything.
Yeah. No, I understand your point because like I typically get bored at the beach too. At some point, it's like, okay, what else is there to do?
Right.
Like we came, we swam, we had our little lunch picnic thing. We laid on the beach, and then what? We played volleyball, and then what?
And it's really rare to like, you'll see like animals in the ocean. You will sometimes, like I know there was a couple times I went to the beach and like I saw dolphins swimming, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or like there was one time I went with a group of friends and in the little frisbee, like in the water, they actually caught like a seahorse, which I thought was cool. They're so tiny.
So cool.
I don't know if it was a baby or not, but it was safe. We released it and it was still in the water when she caught it. So it wasn't like, I don't want to say suffocating, but it was fine.
That's pretty cool.
But other than that, there's nothing to really do. Now, besides the beach, Florida is pretty cool, like when you go out into the nature, because it has some pretty nature. We have some pretty cool animals here.
We definitely do.
Like, I like going to the springs.
Springs
Have you
are
ever
nice.
been to the springs before? Yeah, because the water never changes temperature, so it's always like 60 degrees.
Oh, true, yeah.
And then there was one time I went to this place called Blue Springs, and we actually saw a manatee there. And a baby manatee. Like, she just like had the baby like 2 days ago. So they made us get all out the water.
Yeah,
it was really cool. I love manatees. They're so interesting because like they have like these ginormous bodies and like little heads. They're so cute. Save the manatees, y'all.
For real.
They're in danger.
You know, I actually really want to go to the Keys though. I have not been. And I heard it's gorgeous.
I've never been to the Keys either.
I really want to go there and like do snorkeling and things like that.
See, I don't know if I can do that because like I was saying about the water.
Yeah.
I would love to, but like I don't want to start having a panic attack.
No. Like, I mean, definitely get comfortable with the water first before attempting any sort of like water activities.
But I do want to snorkel because like I want to see like the corals and stuff. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'd start freaking out, so I kind of can't.
Yeah. For me, though, I would need someone who's, like, experienced nearby.
Well, obviously, you're going to have professionals with you. They're not going to let you snorkel by yourself.
True.
I guess it depends what type you're doing, because there's, like, some that are deep dive, and there's some where it's not. I don't know terminology.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ready for deep dive snorkeling. Not there yet. But sunsets on the beach are so pretty. Like, if there's any reason to go to a beach, it would be just to watch the sunset. It's so gorgeous.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been like on the west coast of like America, because I've been to Hawaii before. I don't know why, I feel like the Pacific Ocean looks prettier to me, the Atlantic Ocean, even though it's all kind of water, but it's like different at the same time.
It's all kind of water.
It is all water, but for some reason the Pacific Ocean looks beautiful. And I get to like the Atlantic Ocean, I'm like, eh.
I wonder if it's the perspective that everyone like built in.
Maybe.
Like LA, California, so gorgeous. Atlantic, not so much.
I don't know. I never really hear anyone talking about the Atlantic Ocean, so I don't know if they have the same views as I do as far as how it looks. That could just be a me thing.
No, but I can agree with you on that. Like, depending on where you are, like the ocean and the scenery is like beautiful. Because when I went to the Caribbean, the beaches and the water and everything is like so pretty. Like, even on that island, like different parts had different colored water. Like, one part had like really clear, like light blue water, and then the other side of the island would have like dark blue, but still really pretty. So like it depends.
Or like that greenish type blue. Yeah, I like that like scenery. That's really pretty.
So yeah, I can agree with you. It really does depend on where you are. But either way, I just think the sunset on a beach is just so pretty. That's like one of the few things, like, you know how in the movies they like hype up and make it look like all like super pretty and stuff? Like, that's one of the few things that is pretty in real life.
Yeah.
I think.
So besides the beach, for me anyway, because I feel like I live in a town where like there's not much to do, like activity wise. There is and there isn't. There's certain
There's
times.
so much to do here,
no,
though.
there's not. I don't live where you live.
Oh, that's true.
I'm back
That's
home.
also true.
So like for here, really, you could only do what, like shopping or like shopping or movies. And we're going through a pandemic right now, so those are kind of limited.
That's true.
And then I feel like when people think of Florida, if you're not from America, I feel like they only think of or know Miami. And then if you are in America, probably outside too, you only think of the theme parks. So we're really only Miami and the theme parks, which is mostly Disney.
Yeah, I think people outside of America, they know Disney World. They know Universal.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure about Universal, but definitely
Disney.
But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into that conversation because you know how I feel about Disney.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if you're not in like those type of areas where the theme parks are, there's not really much to do.
That is true.
And like not even just that, there's like these weird pockets in Florida. Like sometimes I feel like we're our own little island. So like down south, you'll get like the people who migrated here like from the island. So like from Puerto Rico or like Dominican Republic, Haiti, and like they have their own little spots. And like in the middle, you have like Orlando where the theme parks are and some attractions. And then like when you get further north of Florida is where you remember you're in the South of America. So it's really weird how it functions like that.
Yeah, I guess you could say it gets more country the more north you get, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even like there's weird pocket spaces in Florida where it's like pretty country where I know like I won't go.
Yeah.
Because it's not safe. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I will not leave my car.
That's true. I think like living in Florida is it was different for me when I moved because I did move from Boston. That's where I was born and raised until I was like 12. And then we moved here and I've been here since. But I do remember like watching these commercials about like Disneyland and not Disneyland, sorry.
Disney World. Disneyland is in California.
Yeah, Disney World and like Universal and like how you could win a trip there. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool.
And then you got here and you found out the reality.
I got here and I was like excited for the first year or two because we did get like yearly passes. So that was fine. But then over time, I'm like, okay, the hype's really not there anymore.
It's like once you go once, unless you're one of those, like, I don't want to call them fanatics, but people who really enjoy the theme parks, there's like, you go once, that's it. You're going to see the same things unless they build new attractions.
Like, I guess it's a great after work thing to do, like a place to meet up with friends and such.
Yeah, plus it's cheaper, like if you go during the week. And then because if you're a Florida resident, they have discounts for people that live in the state for the theme parks compared to if you're out of state. Like it's a little bit cheaper for us, which is a good thing.
It's good, but at the same time, it's very restrictive too.
Yeah, because they have a lot of blackout dates for Florida residents with the theme parks, especially like during the holidays. Like if we were in normal times and not going through COVID, I think there's certain events before the holidays that they do, but you can't use like your pass on it.
Yeah. Especially, like, I know SeaWorld was not that bad. SeaWorld, you were able to go pretty much any time during the year. There were a few blackout dates, but it wasn't enough to, like, affect your decision of whether you want to go or not. Like, you could literally just say, hey, let's go to SeaWorld, and could still go to SeaWorld. Universal wasn't too bad either. Most of the holidays were blacked out. But other than that, like, you were able to go weekdays, weekends, whatever. Disney, however, my God. Like, it would be like months they would have blocked out. It's like, okay, what am I buying this ticket for?
Yeah, in my opinion, just because I am a rides person, I like Universal better than Disney.
Yeah, I do like Universal too. I actually like Islands of Adventure.
Yeah, that's where all like the big rides are.
Also, you have to take into consideration the travel time. For us, it's like far. So it's like, do I really want to go travel like an hour to get to Disney or to get to Universal?
I mean, we say that's far though, but think of people that are coming like not even out of state, but like out of country. Like they're only coming here to do that one thing. So,
well, for them, it's not that bad, I don't think, because that is their purpose of coming here. But like for resident, it's like, you could probably do something else instead of traveling an hour.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like you would really have to want to go to a theme park if you're willing to put in like that hour to drive there.
And that made me think, because, you know, we're considered a really top like tourist and destination like state or even like in the world. But you have to think most of these people are going to Orlando for the theme parks because there's not really much to do outside of what I was saying earlier, that bubble. And like public transportation is terrible here. You basically need a car to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't get anywhere, is what I'm saying, unless you drove down here from a different state in your own car, rented a car. You can take the bus, but if you're not from here, I mean, I'm from here and I have no idea how our bus system works. So if I don't know it, I'm afraid for people that don't live here.
The bus system is very interesting because it'll take you 3 hours to get to somewhere that would probably take you like 30 minutes to get if you had your own car.
That's just because they have to make like so many stops.
Yeah, exactly. Like because of the amount of stops and the routes that they have to take, it's just way longer.
Anything else about Florida we want to
I don't know. Like Florida's fine. But I will say though, coming from the north, because I did get to experience like all 4 seasons. Like fall is my favorite season, regardless of where I'm at. But here, I kind of did miss it. It's like, okay, fall time. I especially miss it during fall because I love watching the leaves change color, and then like it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I miss the most. Like, are the seasons changing? I don't, however, miss the cold. Like the cold can stay up north. That's fine with me.
See, and I'm like, oh, I want to move out of Florida, experience stuff, but like I'm a baby when it comes to the cold. So like, am I going to be able to handle that?
It depends on how north you go, honestly. I don't think the cold is too bad, but if you're not used to it, I can see how it can become a problem.
There's only like rare occasions where we'll get like under 50 degrees here throughout the whole day, not just like at night to morning.
And you see like Floridians pulling out their winter coats.
We're terrible when it comes to the cold because also like it can be like 40 to 50 degrees in the morning. And then like by 10 o'clock, it's like 70 degrees. So
yeah,
we have to wear layers.
Yeah.
Layers that we can take off.
But it's funny to me how like Floridians just cannot handle the cold.
Oh no, we cannot. It's terrible.
Like 60 degrees and you have your mufflers and your coats come out. People from the north are like, are you kidding? I run in shorts in this weather.
I can tell when someone's from the north if like they're in a t-shirt and shorts when it's like 60 degrees outside. I'm like, oh yeah. Because if you see like a Floridian, we'll be like in a sweater and like some type of pants. And maybe occasional boots.
Boots are very popular up north around this time.
Yeah, are Ugg boots still popular? I haven't seen anyone in Uggs in a while.
I think that's a north thing.
No, people down here have Uggs.
No, I know they do, but I'm just saying it's not as common to see.
It's not as common, but it can be really hot. And if it's the winter season, they will still wear it, trust me, to try to feel some type of festivities.
I suppose. Yeah, that would make sense.
And like even speaking of winter clothes, like winter clothes down here aren't winter clothes. The material that it's made out of.
It's like you'll have a turtleneck, but it'll be like the thinnest shirt.
Yeah, I would not be able to wear like some of the winter clothes I have if I bought it here to a real place where it gets actually cold. So do you think since you've been here for a long time, you'll continue to stay here? Or do you think you want to move out of Florida like later on in the years? Like, do you think you can spend the rest of your life here, or do you want to move somewhere else?
I think at some point I would want to move. I like Florida, I do. But I don't know, I'm ready for something different. Like, I'm used to the people here. I'm used to how things work. I want something different. So I'm ready for that whenever that does come.
If you could rate Florida out of 10, what would you give it?
Oh, like living-wise?
Just everything, living-wise, the people, the scenery. Rate them differently. So rate the people, rate your experiences living here, and then rate overall.
Okay, so let's start with people. I think for people, I would say 8.5. Only because I've been to other states and people here are so much more nicer. Like, they know how to be nice here. Whereas in, like, other states, people do not have an issue being rude. And it's like, okay.
What parts of this state are you going to where you have run into, like, the most nicest people? And can I move there with you?
Where? Orlando.
Okay, yes. Have you been anywhere outside of Orlando?
I've been to Miami. I've been to Tampa, too.
Which is, like, the 3 big cities here.
Yeah. I have not been anywhere else.
Okay.
But, like, regardless of where I've been in Florida, like, people have always been relatively nice. Like, I never ran into any sort of, like, situation that would make me uncomfortable to the point where I'm like, okay, I can't stay here anymore. So I'm grateful for that. But in other states, I've had situations where people would just make like really rude comments that they wouldn't think twice about. But I'm like, if they had been in, like, let's say Orlando, they would not have been able to get away with making such comments, I would think. Just because we're more geared towards hospitality. So we know how to be nice here.
Yeah.
Whereas there, it's like not really a requirement. So I can see why they're a bit more rougher. But yeah, so people here I would definitely rate like 8.5. Experiences, I would give it like a 9. I really enjoyed it. It's not bad. People are okay. I did well in school. Yeah, it's not too bad here.
So I guess your overall is like a 10 out of 10?
Overall, I would give it still a 9.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. It's not too bad, but like I said, I think I'm pretty lucky in the sense that I live in a pretty diverse and decent place.
Yeah.
Where people know how to behave themselves. So in that sense, I think my experience hasn't been too bad. What about you? What would you rate it?
So the people, I will give it a 7.5. I think it goes to where you were saying where you kind of have to be in those certain areas, especially Orlando, because there's so many people and that is the hotspot for tourists. So like we kind of are used to talking to different people from like all over, not even just this country, but just like the world. So we're a little bit nicer towards people as far as understanding.
Yeah.
It's just when you go to other places, sometimes it's like they've never really left their area.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really know how to talk to different people.
And you can tell, though.
You can tell.
You can tell.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's like kind of everywhere, not just Florida. I'm just talking from my experiences. Like I said, I've been here my whole life, and where I am now, I've literally grew up in this town. So,
yeah.
And from that experience, it's like I would give it a 50-50. So that's why I'm at like a 7.5. It's like I can't see myself not growing up here. Not all my experiences are bad, but like...
They could be better.
Maybe I'm just being too harsh too. It could just be me.
No, but I mean, they're your experiences. So you experience what you experience.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, not to bring race into this, but as a Black person, I do experience some things.
Yeah.
And there are some times where like, yes, people are nice, but like they're nice in that microaggression thing where I've learned to pick up as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, are you really nice? Or like, I don't know, what's going on? Are you trying to say it in this way to where you won't offend me? To where you don't think I'll pick up on it?
Yeah.
So it's just that. And it's not like I say, if I move somewhere, it'll be better. Or if I move somewhere, it'll be worse. That's just something I'm going to have to learn to navigate throughout my whole life. But just here in Florida, from a kid to now, that's where it's at. So people, 7.5. But I think overall, people are generally really nice here. What are the other ones I said? Experiences?
Living experience and then overall.
Probably a 7. Just because, like I said, grew up here my whole life. I would like to experience living somewhere else. And that doesn't mean like if I live somewhere else, I won't come back. Maybe I'll just miss Florida enough and realize I didn't appreciate it enough to where I want to move back. But I would like to live somewhere else. And then overall, I'll give it a solid 8. Because I do think Florida is... Once you get out the city, there are a lot of places where it's just like really pretty and like the nature. Save the Everglades, save the animals. Mm-hmm. If you are a nature person, you'll really enjoy those aspects. I think there's a lot of cool hidden spots that people don't know about that doesn't get shined on that much. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, do I want it to shine? Because these won't be beautiful if people find out about them, because I'm afraid they're going to like build commercial like buildings and stuff to make a profit. So that's where my like conflict comes in.
That's actually a good point that you brought up, because I have noticed a lot of construction popping up like everywhere.
Yeah. So like I say that and I'm like, but then I kind of want them to stay hidden gems because I don't want them to get destroyed.
But you know what? I think overall, whether we want it or not, people are going to continue expanding. So you will see more construction and you'll see more destruction of like habitats and things like that. That is the sad part though, I think, because like Florida is like the home to so many different species.
I mean, hopefully we get to a point where we learn how to not destroy too much. So, you know, global warming is a real thing, guys. I don't care what people are trying to tell us. It is real. It is happening. And I would like to live here as long as I possibly can. So anyway, to try not to end on a downer. Oh, also, I meant to do this at the beginning. I wanted to say, like, I'm sorry if I kept mispronouncing stuff. I listened back to the episode and I realized at the very beginning when we talked about what this podcast was about, I said main group for podcasts when I was talking about BTS. I meant main group for K-pop, which honestly, I feel like at this point you cannot know who BTS is. It's kind of inevitable
Yeah.
unless you just don't listen to music at all. Even if you don't listen to K-pop, you will hear their name once. So I meant K-pop group, not podcast. I don't know why I said podcast. I think I was just very nervous. So before we go, Nafees, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about? Because I did.
Oh, not really. What did you want to talk about?
No? Okay, so we are going to bring it to K-pop a little bit. Because I think a lot of interesting things are happening right now that when this episode comes out, it might be a little bit of old news, but not really. We'll just see what happens in the future. So, if there's anybody who is listening to this who don't listen to K-pop, I'm pretty sure I'm talking about my family if they do listen to this. What's up, y'all? In K-pop in Korea, they're usually like known as the big three. So these are the big three entertainment companies where a lot of really popular groups come out of. And they're called SM Entertainment, YG, although YG's very questionable nowadays for the lot of stuff they went through last year, and JYP. JYP. They do that. I like to know. I'm sorry. So SM is debuting a new girl group sometime in November. I don't know if they'll be out by the time this episode comes out, but I wanted to talk about them because there's a lot of controversy coming out right now about the group. Just because the way they were announced where their SM was going through some scandals. So I don't know how to pronounce this name. They are going to be called aespa. I think it's just one of those things where it translates weirdly from English to Korean. It's spelled aespa. That's the romanization of it.
aespa.
Yes. And it's 4 girls. They were releasing like teaser photos throughout this whole week. I mean, they're very pretty. If you see the pictures I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, it's very pretty. It's very aesthetic.
So I'm reading this off of this one website where I think it's pretty reliable. I think this is the one K-pop website where it's not that controversial like that other one. This one's called Sompi, Soompi. And basically, the agency, SM Entertainment, explained that the name aespa came from the words avatar, experience, and aspect, with the meaning of being able to experience a new world through another avatar of yourself. The word aspect also means that the group has many different sides. Now, what you're thinking is, okay, that's cool. I mean, I don't know what that means, but basically, so this group is going to have avatars of themselves, like actual computerized AI avatars.
That is actually really unique.
Yeah, so there's a YouTube video you guys can go on if you look up aespa where it actually only has one of the girls right now. Her name is Karina, and it's like a little ad with her avatar explaining basically the whole concept. I guess all 4 girls are going to have avatars, but they only introduced Karina's, so that's where I get a little confused. But I'm assuming all 4 of them are supposed to.
Yeah, they're probably just going to do one at a time until like their debut day.
Well, they already revealed all the girls, but when they've revealed Karina, she's the only one where her avatar was revealed with her. But all the other girls, their avatars weren't revealed. So that's where I'm getting confused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I thought in the explanation it said they were all supposed to have one. And this was all like exposed by Lee Soo-man, who is the CEO of SM Entertainment. SM actually stands for his name.
Oh.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't.
Yeah, like how JYP is named after Park Jin-young, who is JYP, YG. I don't know YG's real name, but I know it's off his name.
Okay. But what were the controversies you were talking about for SM?
Well, just because the way they're explaining it. So, like, I see a paragraph here where I guess Lee Soo-man briefly introduced the concept, and he explained that there are artist members of aespa who exist in the real world, as well as avatar members who exist in the virtual world. The 2 types of members interact through the digital world, which brings them together as shown in the newly released video. Lee Soo-man explains that avatars had existed all along in a world of their own, and one day they'll meet in the real world aespa. So, I mean, everything's really brief, but we don't know how really these things are going to be advertised. My only problem that I was seeing a lot with is I just want to make sure these avatars don't get compared to the girls too much because they're still real people. And the beauty standards over there are already like ridiculous. Even when these pictures were getting like exposed, I follow this Twitter account that translates Korean. They're called netizens, which is people that use the internet. Their comments on the pictures, and a lot of them were already saying these girls have like plastic surgery faces. And I'm like, these girls are like 20 to 19.
Yeah.
But they're already judging them saying that they look like they have plastic surgery. But then like there's other people where they, like I know in the past where they say like they look like they need it. And then when they get it, they still judge them for having plastic surgery.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. I just want to make sure it's already tough being an idol and having to keep up an image and a look.
And then the audience just makes it harder, I guess.
Yeah. So like they're not judged too hard and it's not like messing with their mental state to feel like they have to compete on the looks level of their avatars. I was seeing some things, I don't know if it's a rumors where you can actually do stuff with the avatar. So it's like basically your personal avatar in the way that they're going to be advertised. I really don't know at this point what's going to happen, but I just thought it was interesting how they're mixing in like the AI universe with real people. And then it kind of reminds me of this, I guess now they're considered a K-pop group called KDA. Have you heard of KDA? They had this one really popular song called Pop Star 2018.
No, I haven't heard of them.
If I play the song later for you, I'm pretty sure you would know it. I have definitely played it before. But that one's different because that one's teaming up with League of Legends. So those characters are actual characters. They're not based off real people, but they're using voices from real singers to make them seem real. But they're not real. So I feel like that's where the difference is compared to these are based off real people. And you don't want to mix up like the avatar's personality with the real person's personality because obviously they're way different. People already do that enough with like real idols, like their fake personalities they have like in the group and that not be who they are.
So the avatar and these real people, like the real girls, they're not going to have the same personalities? Like the avatar's not going to reflect the person?
They might reflect them as far as what their role is in the group. I mean, obviously they're not going to reflect them once they're off the camera.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to see how this plays out.
Yeah, that's my only worry. And I thought I would bring that up because surprisingly during this whole week, a lot of stuff been happening with AI. So I guess another controversial person, Kim Kardashian, she had her birthday like a couple days ago and, she rented out a private island, all her friends and family, good for her, even though we're going through a pandemic. And I'm pretty sure there's tons of people kind of bragging about it on the internet. But anyway, a gift from Kanye was a virtual reality like message from her dad. And, her dad's been gone for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then there was another incident where a video came out of one of the Parkland victims telling people to go vote. But the guy who's telling people to go vote is not here anymore. They made an avatar out of one of the victims who didn't survive that Parkland shooting that happened in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So he's not alive. He died when that happened in 2018, but they ended up making a virtual reality of him telling people to go vote.
Oh.
Yeah. I saw that online and I saw the video too.
And how did you feel about that?
I don't know. Like, even with Kim's thing, like, I'm sure that is sweet to her, but I have a problem when it comes to people that are no longer here. Like, I'm not really religious, but I'm a big believer in letting the dead rest.
Yeah.
In those aspects, that's my only thing. But I mean, with all those in mind, what do you think of how we always talk about it in like movies and stuff, but how do you think about us actually moving forward with like virtual reality, AI, bringing this stuff to life? Mixing in like the computer world with the real world? Are you like terrified it's going to turn into one of those like horror movies, or you think this can actually work?
Honestly, I am a little bit uncomfortable with the way it's going because I don't know. It's weird because like, how you've mentioned that they're bringing the dead back to life with this AI stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that's appropriate. I don't know. It's just they've passed. Let them stay past. You know what I mean? Like, there's no need to recreate that.
Yeah. Like, I understand people missing them.
I do, yeah.
And that's just something we have to go through when you lose someone, especially if you're really close to them. But like, like I said, I'm a big believer in letting someone rest in peace. letting their soul move on.
And I think it's difficult too for the person that is living to move on when you have like this AI version of the person that has passed. It's difficult because then I don't know, you start to delude yourself into thinking like, oh, this AI could be real.
Yeah, there's literally an episode of Black Mirror on this where
really?
Yes, where a girl lost her, I don't think they were married, I think it was her boyfriend, in like a tragic accident. And then she ends up finding this like website where they made like a complete replica of him, like robot form, and he just acted like him before he passed. But like she started going crazy because she's like, no, you're not like really him and all that. It was just, it's interesting. Let me see if I can find that episode title real quick.
Yeah, I just feel like if we continue introducing it as a normal thing, it would get to that point where people will not be able to differentiate between reality and, what's the other word? Reality and fantasy?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a little nervous for this new girl group, depending how they actually market it. Because I want to make sure people don't confuse these girls' AIs with them themselves, because that can also bring like a whole nother problem with like stalkers and just like online bullying.
Oh, yeah.
Like people are thinking these girls are supposed to be their AIs and they're not.
Yeah, I just don't even want to think of all the disturbing things that could happen.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Someone said it was like, I saw a tweet, someone comparing it to that one episode of Black Mirror that Miley Cyrus was on.
Oh, she did one?
Yeah, it was basically like she was a pop star and named Ashley O, and then something happened to where she fell ill, and then they tried to make a virtual reality of her, like while she was actually ill, but the AI version of her would try to carry on.
See, that's not too bad though, because she's still alive.
Well, if you watch the episode and find out how she got ill, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen the episode, so I wouldn't know.
I don't want to really spoil it, but it's not good.
Yeah. You know, it kind of reminds me of that movie Bolt. She was actually the voice for the girl in that. It's about the dog.
I know what Bolt is. What does Bolt have to do with AI?
It doesn't have to do with AI, but it has to do with the fact that he thought he was living in a real world, but then he realized that it was all like fake and created.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I thought you're making some type of like correlation with like Miley Cyrus, and I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? But now that you brought it in that aspect, I understand, and that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
It's Be Right Back. That's what the episode is called for Black Mirror. So if no one who watches Black Mirror like has never seen it before, I would suggest that episode, that because it kind of goes into what we're talking about. She loses her lover, and then all of a sudden she finds this like website to like bring him back in like this robot form, but it's like not the way she expects it. So yeah.
That is crazy.
The future, y'all. We're getting there.
What are your thoughts on like actual robots taking on like human persona? What are your thoughts about that?
I don't know. That's a weird topic because it's one of those things where like we don't even really know about humans in general. Like I feel like there's still a lot about like the human psyche that we still don't know about, like the way we behave, the way people think. So like to put that in a robot form, is a robot actually going to be able to reciprocate like human feelings like we do?
If it's a Korean drama, I can.
What dramas are you watching?
Well, I did watch one called I Am Robot, I think.
But it's not played by an actual robot. It is still a person pretending to be a robot. So that doesn't count.
But I'm just saying the idea of it, where they try to create like human feelings in a robot. That was interesting.
That's also another... I didn't finish it. I really need to go back and watch it. But there's another drama like that called My Hollow Love. I've only seen the first episode, but...
I heard good things about it, actually.
Yeah, it's about a hologram and he starts actually falling in love with the person. But then he realized, like, oh, wait, I'm not real.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then there's other ones too. Like I think there was an American movie called Her, where this guy made a program. He ended up starting to fall in love with the program.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That's like, I'm a little bit of a realist when it comes to things like that.
I feel like for a future episode, we should find like one of these shows or movies, watch it, and then talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, anyway, do you have anything else to talk about, Nafees? I think this was a pretty good topic. I mean, it was originally about Florida, but I thought this... Well, I mean, this is real life. Like, we're looking into the future.
It is, yeah.
So I thought this was also something interesting to bring up.
And, like, knowing that we live in a very tourist-heavy state, I wouldn't be surprised if we start having AI technology here, too.
That is a good point. We could be looking at our future.
Yeah.
So
that is true.
I mean, it's already happening with like the magic bands and Disney and stuff like that.
Oh, really? What are magic bands?
So it's these wristbands that they give out at Disney, and it basically holds everything now. So your tickets can be on there. You can put money on there to where if you go to certain restaurants in the parks, you can pay through that. Your fast pass can be on that. Basically, everything can be on your wristband to where it's easier to like get on rides, to pay for stuff.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I understand the point of it, but like, what if you lose that wristband? What happens?
I don't know about that. I'm sure online they have a safe space for like where you can deactivate it, but
Yeah.
they've had magic bands for a while. I could have sworn they started doing that either last year or at least 2018.
That just shows you how long it's been since I've been to Disney.
It's fine. It's just because I went to a hospitality school and most of the students there work at Disney. So that's the only reason why I know that. And a lot of the teachers work at Disney. So I know a lot about Disney.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening to today's episode. You can find us everywhere that you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts if that is what you are using. And let us know what you think in the comments. Also, shout out to our editor, Sam, and our social media specialist. Thank you, guys. Also, you can follow us on social media at I Was Thinking Pod on Instagram and Twitter. If you have any questions, comments, or a topic you think we should talk about, email us at iwasthinkingpod@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Next week, we have a great topic to talk about. It's the stress of being a college student, so look out for that. All right, see ya.
Bye.